Just flipped epoch and the emission schedule has dropped as we came out with the Medium article only a few days ago. Effectively now the emissions have dropped, and I want to just quickly run through and give you some important points and why we've done it, and just to give you some ideas on the value that creates for anyone that's involved with us in the project or looking to learn about it. So basically what we've done, we've taken the emissions from 0.5% to 2% decay rate. So that means every week as emissions are emitted, which we emit equal to our LPs to incentivize them so that we can produce fees and effectively have liquidity on the platform for people to swap with. So those emissions, they were set at a schedule and they were decaying at 0.5% per week or per epoch, and we've increased that to 2%. So what you're getting now is a much more rapid descent in the amount of emissions coming out, which means more vote power for people. We did have some people saying that the APRs could be reduced to the LPs. We believe that what will happen here is that the equilibrium within the system will sort itself out. We'll see a higher token price because there's more desire for equal, there's more value for people to lock it up because they're going to own a bigger share. And effectively what we'll see is that APR will either stay the same, potentially even increase, because you see once the tokens are emitted, it's the price of equal and the tokens emitted that give the value. And what it can do as well is constrict that supply to those LPs and sort of really maximizing and get a good sort of balance out of them. So we are pretty positive that we're going to see some really good changes there. I think we're just providing more value to equal, and effectively the market will make its decision, but it could be in price appreciation, which will again help APRs. So what we've done is we've removed over 1 million tokens, basically from what was going to be emitted over the next 73 epochs, which was going to take us to the 2-year period. And what we did here, we did some quick modeling. So we went through and we showed you or we modeled out basically what we were going to emit on the current schedule, with a 1% decay, a 1.5 and a 2% decay. And you can see why we chose that 2% decay, because it gave us the most effect. It got the most tokens out of the market so that people that were locking equal were going to get a much higher percentage ownership of the protocol and higher value with veEQUAL in those rewards each week and obtain more voting power. It's effectively burning 39% of the supply. So when I founded Equalizer and I did the tokenomics, inflation was always on the back of my mind, and it was like, how can we remove tokens from supply? And you know what, burning 39% of the supply to be emitted, I can't see a better way to take tokens out and ensure that people maintain a good vote power and also earn on that vote power. But effectively also it helps protocols as well, because what we're calling this is like a reverse rebase, right? We're not going to emit more tokens to protect your position, but we're going to print less tokens. So effectively, it's protecting your position in that way. So it's almost like a rebase without inflation. You're going to have better ownership of the protocol. We're the fastest decaying solidly fork in the market now at 2%. So you're going to have a really good chance to get in there now and earn or own some of that protocol ownership there. The other thing too that we're doing effectively is reducing that inflation hugely. And I want to go through that and show you here within the Solidly Forks best Solidly visions here from 543. He did a comparison on all the top forks there. We use Curve as the benchmark, so it's a good place to have a look at one of the oldest in the market, or the oldest in the market, so the OG, and use it as the comparison. So there's a lot of good data in here, and I definitely think you should go in and have a look later, because it helps you make your decision when you're deciding, what you think is most value when you're looking at a solidly fork. All these are on different chains there. But the one that we're looking at here, because it's affected the most, is obviously our decay rate is at 2%. And we've got 33% inflation rate now. So that absolute inflation rate has dropped to 33% over, and is the lowest of all of the forks there. But Curve itself had a 8% inflation rate. Now we're 5 times younger than Curve. So you can go up here and have a look at the epochs, but we're 5 times younger than Curve, and we're inflating at only 33% of supply. So they're at 8%, but you've got to remember how much younger we are. So one of the biggest hurdles you want for these forks to show their promise is to get to that mature stage. And I think we've proved after 32 epochs and the second longest standing one apart from Velodrome that we've now matured. We've been around for a while. We understand the game. We understand how it all works. We've got some cool products to launch. But now we're looking at how do we sort of squeeze as much value in for veEQUAL holders so that if you're getting involved, you're not getting inflated. That inflation there is something you want to be mindful of. And when you're in a new fork, inflation is really, really quick, right? So you can invest in one, and if it doesn't work out, after 8-9 weeks, you'll find that your value of your token may have decreased because the inflation has come through so hard. So the best thing that can sort of offset that is reducing that inflation and being in like a mature fork. And I do think we're going to start to see another cycle where people gravitate back to mature forks that have now adapted and reduced that inflation section, because you can get in and you can sort of maybe find the next bottom or whatever and get a good entry point. I'm going to just quickly bring up this spreadsheet here because it shows where we started, and it's just going to give a really quick rundown basically on where the numbers sat and where they finish just by changing this. And I know you could see it on that graph there, but it's always good to sort of see it. And we did all the modeling here to see what it looked like. But we were outputting sort of around about that 42,000, 43,000 equal a week to stimulate or to incentivize that liquidity on our platform. And you're going to see now it's just going to quickly be dropping down. Like we'll be at 30,000 tokens output at 48 weeks. And if you roll across here, we were going to have 39,000 in that week come out. So you're looking at like almost 9,000 tokens that were going to be emitted have just been removed. Just as we sort of roll through and have a look here, it's only only about 16, 17, 18 weeks, and we're dropping that many tokens. And you get down to that 2-year mark where we're measuring to, and that's where we have this little adjustment again where it only goes to 0.1% and it flattens out again. But there we'll be outputting 9,700 tokens as opposed to 29,000 which were scheduled. So I think you're starting to see how much we've removed from the supply, and what that's going to do is going to ensure people that are getting in on veEQUAL or are already in on veEQUAL, we're rewarding you, right? Because you're going to have a bigger share of that pie, and you're effectively like sort of cementing your position. So as long as we can continue to stimulate that liquidity with the output that we've got here, you are going to have an opportunity to earn more because you're not sharing it with so many people. And one of the best things that we did from the start is we analyzed the tokenomics, and we really worked them on 100 different levels to try and come up with something that works, because we could see from the original Solidly when it was launched how quickly it came off a base and emitted tokens, and then the price to sustain liquidity was just becoming very difficult, right? And that's something we're looking to avoid, hence why we've made this adaptation.